Today, we are going to be talking about questions to ask your brokerage during your interview. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Erin Wright with Exit Realty Preferred here in the Fayetteville, Fort Bragg, North Carolina area. And I want to talk to you guys about different questions and things to bring up during your interview when you are talking about joining a brokerage. Now, this is for brand new real estate agents, experienced real estate agents who are looking to possibly switch firms, or for those of you who are interested in possibly pursuing real estate as a career and don't really know where to start. The first thing that you're going to want to do, obviously, is go get your license. And then once you're licensed, you will begin interviewing brokerages to try and find somewhere to hang your license. And it's really important that you ask the right questions, so that you can compare apples to apples, and you can get a better idea of what brokerage offers what, so that you can find the right fit for you. It's really important that you do that. So we're going to be talking about some of those questions that you can ask during your interview. Of course, there's the standard questions that are probably the most common, things like what is your commission split? How do you advance with that if it starts off at 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10, do you cap? Those are usually the first kinds of questions. Another very common question are, what are your fees? For different brokers, brokerages have different fees for different things like desk fees, technology fees, training, website, marketing and advertising, franchise fees, things like that. So you're going to want to make a list and make sure that you're really getting down to exactly what all you'd be paying to your broker, to your brokerage. The other thing that you might want to ask initially is startup costs. Now, that might not pertain directly to that brokerage that you select, but they can give you an idea of what those startup costs may be, especially when it pertains to that particular brokerage, because you are starting your own business. So there are startup fees with that. The other thing that you might want to ask initially are things like what your brokerage provides to you as an agent. Do they provide signs? Do they provide lock boxes, a desk, office equipment like access to a copier or a postage machine? Do they provide a mentor? Do they provide training? So those are all really important things as well. Another question that you might want to ask is how many hours are you expected to be in the office? So this determines, are you going to be part-time real estate agent, a full-time real estate agent? You want to make sure that the brokerage that you sign on with and you have the same mindset, particularly if you want to work part-time. What's expected of you? Do you come into the office? Do you work from home? Do you need to attend training in the office, or can you do that virtually? Different things like that. So you want to have that conversation. Another common question is, does your brokerage provide leads for you? There are thousands of different lead websites, lead generating sites out there, and some brokers offer that to their agents. So you want to make sure that you ask that. You also want to ask how many agents that office has. Are there hundreds of agents, or just a couple, or somewhere in between? And that can give you an idea of how much attention you'll get as an agent, and also how much experience that you'll have to be able to pull from as a newer agent. So all really great questions to ask, but there are so many more that you can ask in addition to those. Things like the training that is offered. Do they offer training? Is it mandatory? How often is it? What kind of topics would you be covering? Is there a fee, of course? Is there a cost associated with it? Training for me in particular was a big deal. So especially for newer agents, because when you're going through real estate school, you're learning the ins and outs of real estate. You're learning the laws. But once you sign on with your brokerage, that's who teaches you how to get through a transaction, how to communicate with people, how to enter things into your MLS. So that training is really, really important. So I would, if I were you, this is what I did. I would ask a lot of questions about training. Now, if you are an experienced agent, training isn't necessary for you. Maybe you want to just do it all on your own. If that's your cup of tea, then you might just breeze over training. But in my opinion, it's an important one. You could ask things like, is there a full-time administrative staff to help new agents or any agents get through their transaction? Is there a transaction coordinator? You can ask things like, what does a normal day look like in your office? How long is it normally until an agent gets their first deal? Questions like that can really speak to the level of enthusiasm, the excitement, the culture of the brokerage itself. So you're kind of getting a feel for how they run their company when you're asking questions like that, so that you can get an even better idea of if you're the right fit for them, and vice versa. You can ask questions like if they offer floor duty or phone duty, where people call into the office and you receive those leads, or if they come into the office, if you receive those leads. You can ask if you, as a new agent, would be able to work with buyers or sellers. You can ask if they do referrals and what the average referral fee would be. You can ask what kind of advertising they do as a company for their company, in addition to advertising for their agents. You want to make sure that you understand the area that they cover, their MLS area, their footprint, I guess, so to speak. So all of those are really great questions as well. And then some questions that may or may not apply to you that you may also be interested in asking are things like, do they have any kind of retirement plan? Different brokers offer different things, like Exit Realty has our residual income program, and we consider that a retirement program. So you also can ask for things like, do they offer health insurance? Do they offer life insurance? You can ask if there's any kind of accountability for their agents. Some people really don't know what to do with themselves when it is such a self-sufficient kind of a job. So for some people, that agent accountability is really important. You can also ask for things like if they have a mission statement, what's their vision? Do they share their business plan? What are their goals as a business? Things like that for you to get a better idea of where this company is, where they're going, where they see themselves, if their values align with your values, if they can help you achieve the goals that you want to set for yourself. Those are the types of questions that can help you get those answers. And then you can also ask fun things like if they do any kind of activities for their agents. Do they do team building? Do they do bonding? Do they do nights out or training events inside, things like that. Again, it speaks to the culture of the brokerage, and again, that only matters if that is important to you, but these are questions that you can arm yourself with, and if you are interested in getting a full printout of all of these questions and extras, then please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to send over a copy of what I've pulled together. I do think that interviewing your brokerage is one of the most important steps when you first become a real estate agent, because so many people jump on these big name companies and then they're left with disappointment. They're left not having the experience that they were hoping for. And I think it's because they didn't ask the right questions to see if they were really a good fit for that company, because what works for me may not work for you, and what works for Joe may not work for Sue. Whatever, I didn't mean for that to rhyme. But my point is that it's important to ask these questions so that you can decide which brokerage will help you reach your own real estate goals. So I hope this was helpful. I wish I had known more of this information when I first started real estate. So hopefully it's good for you. Again, if you're interested in this full list to print out and bring with you to your own interviews, I am happy to do that. Just reach out. My contact information will be below. I hope you have a wonderful experience as a real estate agent. And yeah, that's all.